My name's Kenny Dyal, and welcome to Season 2 of the Scuba Diving Podcast. Emily, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
And thanks for joining me on the beach out here in Venice, which has to be the shark tooth capital of the world.
That's why I'm here.
If you're not from Florida.
Nope, not at all. I actually live in Maine, so it's quite cold up there. I left about 18 degrees.
This looks like it's cold here, but that's an illusion. The dog walkers,
It's very much an illusion.
Is the fishing guy in the picture?
I don't think he is.
So you go Shark Lady Emily. That's your screen name.
That's kind of it, yes. I have so many shark tattoos, and I've been obsessed with sharks for about 34 years, so kind of stuck. But the original shark lady, Eugenie Clark, she has that title, but that's why I put Emily at the end.
I think there's enough sharks out there to go around.
Yeah, I agree.
You can have more than one shark lady. Obviously, you're pretty famous on TikTok, and you've got a following. You've got a following on social media. You're a marine biologist.
I am a marine biologist, yes.
And you obviously love sharks.
I do, very much.
and now you actually are striving to educate people, and you're succeeding at least in eyeballs, because you have a hell of a following on TikTok.
I do. I like to go live a couple of times a week and talk about, I have Megalodon teeth, I have thousands of very small different types of shark teeth like hammerheads, threshers, lemons, all sorts of stuff that I found myself and dug up myself. So yeah, and then I like to go ahead and talk to people and answer questions as best I can and have a dialogue and as much as I can. So
yeah, I want to ask a question that you probably answered a billion times, but what's your favorite shark?
Oh, I do. I get that all the time. I have a few different types of sharks. Since there's over 530 different species of living sharks, hard to just choose one.
Okay, so the rule is you got to choose one though.
Okay, I will.
Hard rules
here.
All
right, I will. Zebra shark, or what they call in Australia is what they call the leopard shark, even though I know a leopard shark is different. But yeah, the zebra shark, I actually have it tatted right here. The beautiful shark, when it's a baby and a juvenile, it has stripes like a zebra, and then it turns out to have spots like a beautiful leopard. That's why they call it a leopard. And it's off the coast of like Australia.
I thought it was going to be something different, but that's a good one.
What did you think?
I don't, like some mangly tooth one or something.
I do love the great white and the mako shark, one of my favorite, but like the frilled shark, the deep water frilled shark, that is absolutely one of the coolest sharks I've ever.
What's a deep water frilled shark?
The frilled shark is it's in the order of the living fossils, and they are, I think there's like maybe 8 species of sharks, but they all have 6 or 7 gill slits, not 5. They all have a different vertebrae column than any other living species. They also have like their jaw goes past their eye sockets, whereas no other species does. And they have like no dorsal fin, and if they do have a dorsal fin, it's very far present towards the caudal fin or the tail fin, that it doesn't even act like a dorsal fin. They're all pretty much deep water sharks with the exception of, you can see they're like the 7-gilled blunt nose shark, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, they're a really cool shark. I have one tatted on my back as well.
Self-indulgence here. My favorite's the Greenland shark, because they're like a few hundred years old.
Well, yeah, they're beautiful. I mean, we can keep going. I could talk all day about the Greenland shark too.
I know. That's the one that fascinates me because it's a few hundred years old.
It is. They've aged one at like 400. It goes blind because it has a copepod that attaches itself to its eyeball. It has like toxic flesh to us because it produces a anti-type of freeze to keep its cells functioning at such extreme temperatures. I mean,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shark. And they actually just found out that it has predatory behavior, whereas they thought more of it was kind of a scavenger. It still was predatory, but they have now like documented that it's actually like going for prey and not just scavenging at the bottom.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is a really cool thing to discover since it's so far down. Yeah.
So if you don't mind, walk me from start to TikTok.
So when I was younger, my sister actually showed me the movie Jaws, and we were actually coming to Orlando. We went to the beach, and I wouldn't go in the ocean. My dad kind of challenged me and said, "Why won't you go in the ocean?" And I said, "Well, because I'm scared Jaws is going to eat me." And he said, "That's ridiculous." So he basically told me to go ahead and kind of challenge myself and learn a little bit more about sharks, and to kind of give him more reasons on why they're scary. And instead, I kind of gave him more reasons on why they're cool. And that was when I was 8. So that was 34 years ago. And then it spiraled into me being obsessed, and I wanted to know more and more. And I kept saying, "Dad, oh my God, you know this?" Then it spiraled into going to college for marine biology. I graduated with my marine biology degree, and then I still had my love for sharks, but then I went ahead and found some contacts, and one of them was for the Carolina Shark Conservancy down in Charleston, South Carolina. So I would go down, I went down 9 times last year and did some fishing off the beach and did tagging, and I actually tagged my first 3 sharks underneath my own name, Emily Morrison, with my marine biology kind of background, which is really, really kind of huge for me, so it was really exciting. Named a bunch of sharks too and everything, have have a bunch of them tatted on me, and so that's kind of where all the tattoos grew from, is personal experiences.
You're tagging sharks, so you're catching them.
Yeah, I have a ton of them that I've tagged.
You're throwing a line, like as if you were just fishing for anything.
So I have my own rod and reel, and then you have like a spike and you put it in there and you kind of just go out into the ocean. We use bonita, whiting, and then we even had a sharp-nosed shark that we ended up catching by accident. It got hooked on a huge hook and everything, tried to eat a really big bait, and it ended up kind of slashing its throat. So it would have passed, so we kept it for bait. Cut that up and we would put that on our rod and reel and just go ahead and cast it out, and then pull it in and put it on our stake in the sand and wait. And it's a long waiting game, but you also do get some really satisfying sharks on the end. So
You actually caught a shark that was already going to die,
yes.
and you decided to cut up the shark for bait
Yes.
to catch more sharks.
So this, yes, because sharks are cannibals, so they definitely will eat each other. And not just that, but this one is legal to catch, legal to keep, legal to eat as well. It's a very much a plentiful species, so it was completely okay to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, we ended up using it the next day for fishing. We cut it up, and I have a video on my page of me doing that and cutting it up, and you can see the fillet and everything.
I've seen it,
Beautiful.
yeah. I was like, I gotta ask about that.
That's that one, yeah, that's the sharp nose.
So, and then you actually just catch them like a
Yeah.
patient fisherman almost.
Yes, we do. And then once we do, there was 3 of us. It's Daniel, myself, and then Joe would be reeling him in, and then Daniel would go out and pull him in by the tail, and then I would be on the front nose, and I'd be doing the measuring. I'd be helping with the tagging and stuff, and then Daniel, because Daniel's pretty strong, so he'd be able to go ahead and pull him in and out of the water. I only could do the really small ones, pretty much like the 50 and 60 pounders, but we didn't get too many of those.
Well, that's still not small. And what's the hardest part about the whole process?
For me, it's reeling them in just because they're a fighter. But for the hardest part is just waiting. It's really difficult for us to wait for them because we know they're out there. But other than that, it's a really big thrill. And they're only on the beach for up to a minute, maybe a minute and a half. It's a very quick process.
Does anybody ever get bit?
Nope, nobody's ever gotten bit. Nope.
Nice.
And we take the hooks out by hand, not with pliers or anything.
And you've never been bit?
Nope, never been bit.
Is it like something you do have to watch out for?
Yes, I mean, you're still careful, of course.
All
Yes.
right, gotcha.
But with the 3 of us, we're very good at.
Anybody can bite, right, Ted?
That's what I always say. It's so funny when I worked at the aquarium, we would have the tank where you could pet the sharks. They would always be like, do they bite? And I'm like, well, anything with a mouth and teeth can bite, right? And they're like, I'm like, so technically they can, but they won't. Just
They
don't
wanted
pull
to
them.
hear no.
I know, that's what they want, but I can't say that.
Right. Always a possibility.
There always is.
You actually worked and tagged. You caught with a line, brought in, removed the hook by hand, and tagged sharks and let them go.
And let them go. Measured and everything, and their location and everything has gone into the database and stuff too, so it's pretty cool.
And obviously it's fun.
It makes me feel good. Yeah, oh, it's so fun. It's so much fun. I mean, being on a beach in a beautiful atmosphere like this all day, just fishing for sharks, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better.
Okay, so you did that. Now, fast forward a few years later, you're actually looking to educate people about sharks. And there's some entertainment value, of course. Sharks are always enthralled. So it's like edutainment sometimes. And that's why you go live. And that's why you post what you post.
Yep.
And what's your TikTok handle again?
It's Shark Lady Emily.
Shark Lady Emily. Any underscores?
Nope.
Just
Shark Lady Emily. Right there.
As it stands.
As it stands.
When did you go, okay, this is the thing?
It was actually just a couple of years ago. When I first started off going on TikTok, I
Hello.
was just Emily1313 with a shark on the end. And then I just decided to get more and more tattoos, and I ended up becoming more of a shark lady. Kind of where I got it.
Okay, tell me about the first tattoo.
Was my great white on my lower back, which is what some people call as your tramp stamp.
Your great white was your tramp stamp. If you're going to do it, go with the great white.
Go with the great white.
All right.
It's
Okay, so that was your first.
that was my first, yes.
And was it like, I'm going to keep going? Or?
It wasn't. I didn't get more tattoos until like 10 years later. And then all of a sudden, bam, in the past year and a half, it's been all of these. And then I went through school and everything, and I got one on my ankle. After that, then it was, once I had my Georgia Aquarium experience with them, then I got my whale shark tattoo, and then bam, it just started blossoming.
Once that second one hit, it just sort of snowballed.
Yeah, and now I'm up to 51 individual sharks and 25 species, and I'm adding more and more. So I have another tattoo appointment in a week and a half, and so I'll be getting at least a blue shark and a nurse shark, and then I'll also be doing more teeth that I'll be digging up and stuff. So I have an extinct species of tiger shark tooth right here that I dug up too. So I'll be putting more on my hand and all that.
Meg tooth, hopefully, right?
When I find one. I have to find, if I find the meg tooth, it will be going on me.
You're in the right spot. We're
I
here on
know.
Venice Beach. Where does it end? I mean, do you go into the face?
No, no face, no face, but we will be going down. So I will be going to Tiger Beach, and hopefully I'll be putting a tiger shark on me as well, a personal one. So.
Okay, so you're gonna go down the legs?
Yep, go down the legs.
Finish the arms?
Finish the arms. Yep, this one's pretty much finished. We'll be starting going here. I have all, the whole back is covered.
What about the neck?
Nope, nope. But I do have one on my ear here, and so I'll be putting teeth down my neck as well, yeah.
Like
my mom's thrilled.
Front or the back?
No, back.
Okay, so just the headshot is always gonna look clean. That's the one preservation.
It most likely will look
Okay.
clean, most, as of now, but you know, that could change.
Like how covered are you gonna get where the sun doesn't shine?
No, I will keep it, my back one is pretty low. It's pretty much everywhere will be
Sun
covered.
hits.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's a good way of putting it.
Yep.
I would think like.
Do you not have a
top
tattoo?
of I don't have any tattoos. It's too committee. I don't even know what I want to be when I grow up now. So,
Well, then
you know,
the commitment aspect of that is
tough.
Yeah, it's.
I'm just worried I'm gonna, you know, I just don't. And maybe it's just the coward in me. I think they're cool. I just don't do them.
Yeah. To each his own.
Yeah.
To each his own.
I like people's kids. I just don't have them.
That.
You know.
That's a perfect example.
So we're a little off
It's kind
topic.
of how I'm like. No, it's kind of how I'm like with the dogs. I like people's dogs. I just don't want one.
Yeah, no, it's right, because
just-
you would want to do a good job.
Exactly, and I know
Yeah.
that I'm not dedicated enough to do it.
And if I did a tattoo, I'd have so much like, oh, this has to be perfect. It's got to mean something. And I just can't think of anything. I have that passion behind.
Everybody asks me why sharks, and I'm like, because I don't have any other passion than sharks. Like, I love my sharks.
Why sharks? Why are there no orcas? Why are there no seals? Why are there no sea turtles or rays? You know, everyone loves cappies. So why sharks?
Everybody asks me that question, why sharks? And the only thing I can say is that it's a natural passion. It's a natural just glow that I feel. It's a natural high. And I just love sharks so much that I can't imagine anything else on me. I'm not dedicated enough. I'm not passionate enough about anything else other than sharks.
It's honest.
And I couldn't imagine anything else on me. I can't even put like seaweed on me to fill in. I just want sharks. I have a full moon and that's about it.
You can't get passionate about anything else.
No, and the adaptations, I just find them to be amazing. I have such a respect for them, and I can't get over it. It blows my mind on the amount of adaptations that they've gone through throughout their 400 million years of existence. So
It's amazing.
crazy.
When did you realize the TikTok page was a thing?
After I kind of started getting noticed from my tattoos, then I ended up getting enough followers where I could go live. And then after that, my Megalodon teeth hit. And then it was just, every time I went live, I got bombarded with questions. And so I kind of focused it and kind of went in on like more of a focal content of questions. And we're going to talk about this today. We're going to do this today and all that stuff. So it's been a journey, but a learning experience.
How's that first live?
Terrifying. You get a lot of trolls, a lot of weirdness because everybody's used to other types of TikTokers and stuff. I'm more of just the educational. They all want, you know, to see all of my tattoos, and I always tell them, you can look at you can look at my pages for that. So we're strictly about sharks.
There you go. Look at the pages if
Strictly
you want
about
to see that.
sharks, yeah.
Yeah. You actually got a lot of trolls.
All the time.
How do you handle that stuff?
I actually just don't pay attention to it because it doesn't really bother me. It says more about them than it does about me. So it doesn't really bother me too much. I don't get triggered very much by a lot. They try to get me with like, oh, I eat shark, or how does shark taste? And I'm like, they're fish. You can eat some species of shark and it's okay. And you know, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you, like, this is how you spend
Yeah,
your day?
like, that's the thing. They always say, like, don't you work? And I'm like, I'm actually kind of am working. I'm letting you guys know about sharks and all that stuff. What are you doing? You're just typing on your computer.
You know, you get a lot of that, people that say you don't work, and you probably know whether it's a 15 or 30 or 45-second post, not even counting the time it took to go out and do the dive and do all that stuff, I'll spend 2 hours between making it, editing it, posting it, and doing a little research. It's about 2 hours a post.
People don't realize that in my lives, I don't just like flip on my camera to go live. So I have all of my information in front of me because if I forget something, I want to go back and make sure I'm telling you the correct information. And then I set up all of my Megalodon teeth. I set up all of my other prehistoric shark teeth that I found. I do, you know, I make it so that if I need something, it's right there. I don't have to get up. I'm not, you know, I'm not doing my makeup and all that stuff. I'm showing you all I can do about sharks and everything. So it does take a lot of dedication to get it going.
If you could tell everybody that's going to jump on your live one thing, what would it be? If you wish everyone knew this before they jumped on.
I get asked a lot about if I'm single. That's where what I mainly get. And so I always have to tell them, look, I'm always here for sharks. I'm not here to talk about my personal dating life.
Serious question, we can edit this out. Are you single?
Yes, very much.
So I feel like I even saw the hashtag at the time of this interview. You are single. When you go live, you want to talk about sharks. You're there to talk about sharks.
Yes.
You're not there to talk about dating.
No. I don't mind answering some personal questions just because people are curious on who I am. That's fine. But when it results to like, hey, you want to go on a date? It's like, no, I don't know who you are.
Okay, so how does somebody that finds you fascinating go on a date with you?
Oh my gosh.
If I had to guess, I think it's probably going to things like your digs, your aquariums,
Yes.
where you're going to meet people with common interests.
I would rather have somebody have common interests, but I'm really not even kind of looking for them. So I'm really kind of happy on my shark life. And if I know that this makes me happy, so I know in my life that because I'm happy in my shark life that it will eventually lead to that. Something will happen in that instead of searching for love,
So the best way to date the shark lady is to be into sharks.
Is to be into sharks.
And maybe meet somewhere out on some shark event.
Yes, and I travel every month, so.
There you go. That's it. So you do dive like whenever you can?
Whenever I can, yep. Okay. Last year, like I said, I focused more on doing the fishing and tagging, but this year is all going to be diving.
What opinion of yours has changed and done a 180 since when you started?
When I first started loving sharks, I always thought that we were killing them and that we were going to completely wipe out the shark species as a whole. And I thought that for so long. Now that I've done a lot of thinking and research and all that stuff, and I've been involved in the marine biology realm, I've realized that no matter what, there may be a few species of sharks that may die off here and there, but as a whole, I cannot even fathom that we as the human species would actually kill off sharks as a whole. And so I thought that's what we would be doing, and that's why I was so against all of the fishing and all that. But now I realize they're so plentiful that...
You're saying we're probably not going to wipe out sharks.
Right.
We've definitely hurt some species.
Yes.
We've caused some problems. But by you saying that, someone's going to say, well, you shouldn't say that because you're telling people it's okay to,
Right.
They may think it's okay to eat shark fin soup and all that
Definitely not okay to do any of that. No. Don't kill any of the sharks if you can help it. Never mind the fact that sharks have lived on this earth for over 400 million years and withstood 5 mass world extinctions. And so we as a species only been on this earth for how many hundreds of thousands of years or whatever it is, that we are not going to be able to go ahead and wipe out this one whole species of sharks as a whole throughout the whole entire planet. That's just my belief. So
maybe take one breath. Don't think the world's about to end. We still want to protect them.
Yep.
But
definitely still want to protect them. Still want to do education, conservation. We don't want to hurt the oceans. Don't want to put plastic. All of that stuff. What I'm saying is that it's not as bad as everybody thinks it's going to be.
If you make it your life's mission to be a warrior against all this stuff, and it's great, but I feel like it can consume. If you save the shark, something else is, you got seagrass, you got plastics, you got like you're never truly going to win. I think a healthy awareness and engagement, but also keep yourself happy.
Yes.
And
very passionate about my sharks, and I don't want them to die at all, but at the same time I'd rather have the conservation, the education out there.
And eventually what happens if you let it eat you too much, you turn into one of those internet trolls.
Exactly.
Leaving
which we don't
obnoxious comments. That's what you'll turn into. And you
I know. You can't catch them like this.
I just left a really obnoxious, uninformed comment.
Then you can scroll. That's the beauty of this place. It's like you can continue to scroll and you don't have to follow me or anything. And if you don't like my tattoos, you don't have to look at them. You don't like my sharks, you don't have to look at them. Somebody said that they felt bad for the shark because I kissed them. And I was like, but I love my sharks and I'm going to keep kissing them, and you shouldn't feel bad for them.
What do you see out there that's a commonly held belief that you actually passionately disagree with?
So I actually agreed with it beforehand until last year when I started fishing. Everybody always told me that the hooks rust out of sharks and that they constantly rust out and you're fine. You can just hook it and let it go and cut the line and they're fine. Well, they don't. We caught 3 different sharks and tagged them successfully. One of them was Cleopatra, and she had 4 hooks in her mouth. She was a black tip.
Oh, you've actually
Yep.
got the little hooks
Oh yeah,
in there.
and then Gil
Oh.
was one that had line in and around his gills. I saved a hook of hers. We got all 4 hooks out of her mouth, successfully tagged her and put her out. And she was actually one that got recaptured and was measured and everything. And she was, I don't know, 100 miles away or whatever. So it's basically, I thought that that hooks rusted out. That's what I've always been told.
I did too.
And no, come to find out they don't. The gentleman that I do my fishing with, Joe, he for Carolina Shark Conservancy, he did a whole entire video about how they don't rust out, and because he works at Hadrill's Fish and Tackle, he's been doing that forever. So he's very knowledgeable in that stuff, and he taught me all about. I had no idea. I thought that they were made to rust out after a certain amount of time, and that's not the case. Like I said, we tagged 95 sharks last year, and we had at least a good 2 handfuls that had hooks or line in and around their gills or their mouth or even in their pectoral fins and stuff like that, that were just line, like feet of line, just like trailing behind them and everything. It's really sad. So I didn't realize that they didn't rust out. So now I thought they did. So now I know that they don't.
That's a good one.
I have the hook too, and that's when I go on live on TikTok. That's what I use. I say, okay, so this is the black tip, and I said, and here's one of the hooks that we got out of her. I show him where Gil is, and I have his line that went in and around his gill, in his gills and everything. That's why we call him Gil. He was a sandbar shark, and then she was a black tip, and then the other one was a black tip as well that we had.
I just now noticed that they have the hooks in their mouth.
Yep, so it's those 2, and then this one is a lemon that we caught, and that one I named after my daughter. I named them all. That one I named after my youngest daughter. This one was 6'7". These are epaulet sharks I worked with at the aquarium that I worked at, Cookie Cutter, and then I have Wobbegong, but this is the white spotted bamboo I worked at with in an aquarium as well. And then on my back I have a bunch of them that I swam with, the bull shark and fine tooth that I tagged and all sorts of stuff. So
you know, it's funny. You're probably used to it when you say you swam with bull sharks. You're waiting for people to go, wait, what? And they're just out there.
They're beautiful. And another question I get a lot on TikTok is, what's the most aggressive shark? And I always tell them, and they always say, oh, at the bull or the tiger. And I said, no, that's one of their adaptations. Their ability is to be able to eat anything and everything they can fit in their mouth and their throat. And then they can actually get rid of the things that aren't edible or digestible. And they always think that that's aggression. And I'm like, that's not aggression. That's just, some shark species, they want just like 1 or 2 different species of prey items that they eat. And then some have a very wide range, and that's the bull and the tiger. So I think they're beautiful sharks. They're not aggressive at all.
Everything you're doing on TikTok and elsewhere, where would you like this to be in 5 years?
Ooh. I'd actually like this to turn into a TV show, to be honest with you, to be able to go ahead and educate people about the adaptations and the cool aspects of sharks and really what they do provide for our world's oceans and how long they've been on this earth and what they do for us and everything. I just find them to be very fascinating, and I kind of want to explore that in every aspect of the realm. So whether it be diving, research, fishing, tagging, swimming.
And I know that your live is very successful, so people can tune in. How often do you do that and when?
I go live every week, at least once, if not more. And then I'm also offering subscription lives too, so I can do more focal content. So I want to do more on like the Megalodon. I want to do more on tiger sharks and more on like the species that I have tatted on me as well, to kind of go into that. So I am offering the subscription lives as well.
I actually don't know what that is. What is that?
So you can go, and once you get 1,000 followers on TikTok, you can go live, and then you can also offer subscription lives. So they would have to pay to be able to go to those lives, and I would have to select a button saying subscribers only. It would only be on shark content, obviously, and it would be more focused though on shark content. When I go on lives, randomly I just answer and ask random questions, just show, oh, if you want to see my teeth, I'll show you my teeth. If not, let's talk about this or whatever. So if it's a subscribed live, I would say, we're doing Megalodon at this time, this is what we're talking about. So bring your questions, bring your comments, and let's do Megalodon. Cool. Next week is going to be this. So it's stuff like that.
More targeted, more focused. Mm-hmm. I would assume a smaller group.
Very much smaller.
So more of a chance of getting your question out there.
Questions answered and all that, yeah.
This is not an OnlyFans.
No, definitely. That's why I always say it's shark content only. When I say subscribe, that's why I get nervous on saying stuff like that.
They don't do that with me, if it makes you feel any better. Okay, so on the side you also sell like jewelry and like I want to say like gifts and just cool fun things.
Yeah, I make a lot of different things, like out of epoxy resin, and then I also do beaded jewelry. I crochet wire and I use that with beads and stuff, and in my epoxy resin things I use shells and different things. I went to school on the East Coast, so I collected a ton of shells and everything from the beaches, and so I have just umpteen million of that, so I use that in a lot of my epoxy resin things as well.
So these are shells that you have actually found.
All
you
myself.
Didn't buy like a bag
nope,
of shells.
Nope. And also sea glass and also all sorts of stuff that I found. Yep. And I use it all of my own.
You make it. You don't have like a sweatshop or anything like that.
No, it's actually all just on my living room floor, and it
Okay.
gets quite messy. But yeah, no, it's just me.
And what's the name of that?
It goes by Full Moon Emotion.
Okay.
I do sell that stuff online as well, and I ship around the country for free.
You like to do that in like I would say like a measured dose.
So I'm an artist, but it really kind of, I do a lot of different things, like with the sharks and with my art. It just kind of all fuels my passion and my soul. So I kind of do snippets of everything, but it all kind of goes together and flows very well. So I'm starting to use shark teeth in my artwork as well. That will, I'm sure, will intermix.
I have a sneaking suspicion. Well, you're in the shark tooth capital of the world, literally right here.
I know.
If we dig down, we're gonna find shark teeth.
I'm sure we would.
Apparently, about 4 to 6 feet down, we start finding them here again. You can walk out and find one. Ultimately, like right now, where's your passion centered? Like, where is your strongest passion? Is it your TikTok channel?
It is.
Okay.
It's my TikTok channel.
Today,
yep.
right now.
Today, right now it is, yes.
Okay. So, there's a magazine out there called Ink Magazine.
It is, yes.
What is the magazine?
So it's Ink Magazine. It's all about tattoos. It's about tattoo artists, about tattoo modeling and all sorts, and everything else with conventions and all sorts. But they offer a contest for the cover girl, and I've been selected to compete in it. And so voting starts February 6th.
You'll find the link at the bottom or the top of this video.
Great.
We'll put that wherever we can. Who is your competition?
So obviously a lot of other beautiful, beautiful females that are covered in all sorts of artwork. But mine is really focused on my sharks and stuff. So I'm really hoping to kind of reach a really different audience and stuff. So I'm really excited about it. I've always loved modeling, and I've done it in the past when I was younger and stuff. So I'd like to get back into it.
So Ink Magazine, go vote.
Please.
Once they go to the Ink Magazine,
It's just my name, Emily Morrison.
they'll look up your name. Okay, gotcha.
And the link actually has my name attached to it.
Oh, okay. All right,
So
cool.
it's my individual page that you would just go to.
I want to make
vote.
sure we weren't just sending them to the...
Starts on February 6th.
How long does it go for?
I think about 3 weeks or so. And I think June is when the cover is all out.
All right.
So
Two
that's
votes.
a great start.
2 votes right here, me and Ted. 3. Can you vote for yourself
I hope
once?
so, because I think you could actually vote daily. So
Okay. All right. Well, cool. If you could fix one thing in the world about sharks, just one specific thing, what would it be?
just the perception that people think they're man-eaters. They don't want us. We don't have any nutrient-rich stuff for them to eat to sustain their energy levels. I get that a lot.
Oh, really? Still?
Don't they want us? Don't they look for us? How can we stop attacks? Da, da, da. You don't want to stop attacks. They're not attacking us. They don't want us. It's just mistaken identity. They want it. They're curious fish.
You know, I get that. You know, it's funny you say that. I get that a lot in the aquarium. If I happen to walk by the windows, within the 1 minute, I'll hear somebody go, "Why are the sharks not eating the divers in the aquarium?" And it's like, that right there is, it's still in the DNA of us.
Yes.
It's like they're swimming around, the food they eat, their actual food is buzzing around their heads right there in the aquarium, and they're still not attacking.
Right.
Why would they go? It's like you've got people walking around with hors d'oeuvres trays and steaks and everything. You don't go, "Hey, that's really nice, but I'm gonna climb that barbed wire fence over there, attack that cow and eat it."
And kill it myself and eat it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, and they're lazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're opportunists.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to just...
Yeah, yeah. Are there still people that really believe the Megalodons
Yes,
exist?
My most asked question is the Megalodon still real? Is the Megalodon the great white? And I always have to tell them the Megalodon and the great white lived at the same time period. The Megalodon lived for probably about 13 to 14 million years. So it came in as a species, it existed, it rose to an apex predator status, and then it went down in existence. As that was happening, the great white was rising, and so was the orca and other dolphins and whales and stuff, so the competition aspect. But they just recently were kind of like theorizing about the Megalodon that it's a warm water fish, it was a coastal fish, and it was more resembling the blue shark than the great white. Even though the great white and the Megalodon have similar teeth, they still think that the Megalodon was more closely looking like a blue shark, so thin, torpedo-like, more flexible than the great white, whereas the great white was more, you know, like built for speed and girth and everything. And so they think it was a completely different type of animal than the great white, which is kind of interesting. So I get that comparison a lot on my TikToks, and then I get asked like, but what if it's in the trenches? So if it did go and move into the trenches,
pretty deep for one.
and so an adaptation would have been a completely different shark. I mean, you would
Instead
know
of
that.
adapting to the very thing it was trying to adapt to, it adapted to something wildly different.
That's what I'm saying. So I get a lot of that too. So
Emily.
It's been so much fun.
Hey, it's been fun.
We really had a great time.
Thanks for
so
coming
beautiful.
on.
No, thank you for having me. I really have had such a great time. Thanks, Ted. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Ted was here to help. Thanks for listening or watching if you're on one of the supported video platforms. If you want all things Sweetwater, like a signed copy of my children's book, merch like this shirt or the hat, online courses, or if you want to advertise for your dive facility, if you just want to follow us, go to sweetwaterscuba.com. You can follow my TikTok at Kenny_Dyal, KENNY_DYAL. Our Instagram account, Sweetwater_Scuba. Of course, the Down to 60 channels on all major platforms, and everything else we're doing to lift the underwater world. Thanks for being here, and let's show the rest of the world.